Hi Stage 3. This video is to help you to understand a little bit more about the inquiry project that you are going to do for our unit, the Australian Colonies. So I'm going to go through and show you some resources that you need and help you to see step by step some of the things that you need to do this project. So just to remind you that your assessment task is going to be done in small groups of 3 or 4, and you are going to be exploring one significant event that's going to happen in week 5, one significant group in week 7, and one significant person in week 10. People, groups, and events from the Australian colonies. You're going to be given some information in class and you are going to be able to do your own research as well to find out more information around these different topics. Your task as a group is to create something that is multimedia. It could be a website or it could be Google Slides, it could be a video presentation, whatever your group decides to do together. You are also going to study and find a source of information that you have used, that you found helpful, that you are going to analyse as well. So let's get started and see what it's going to look like. The first thing that you are going to do is research a significant event. And you're going to choose one of the events from this slide. I won't go through them, you'll do that in class. So you're going to choose an event. The second thing you are going to do is use the resources that we provide to you and your own research, so using the internet and other sources as well, to find out more about that particular event. You will be given, and I've got one here to show you, you will be given a Google Doc like this in your HIGE drive. And you can see that it's got all of these questions that you will need to answer. There's a space for you to answer there, and I'm going to show you an example of what that might look like. Now, this is an event that's not on the list for you to choose from. I chose something different so that I could give you an example. I chose farming. And you can see that through my research about farming, I've been able to answer the questions briefly in some dot points here. Okay? Some of them, there's only one thing that I needed to say about it, but some questions you can see here, who are some of the main people who were a part of this event? You can see that I actually found out that there were about 4 different people or 4 different groups who were important, so I've made a list of all 4 of them there. So you can see that I've just used 2 or 3 dot points to answer the questions there, and not very much detail at this point. So that's your research. You will all, within your group, fill in your own document. You won't share your answers, you'll share your ideas and share your brain power in research, but you are personally responsible for filling in this particular document, and that's what you will be assessed on. So after you have done some research and answered your questions in your document, you are also going to slide down on this document and see there are some questions to answer about the source that you have chosen. So on my example, my source that I chose was a non-fiction text. So one of the texts from the library. And I have answered, again in dot points, some brief information about this source. You can see I've answered all of the questions going down here. The last thing that you need to do, here it says number 4, you need to keep a bibliography of the sources of information you used for your research. So not just the one source you chose to analyse, but all the sources that you've used in your research. You need to keep a list or a track of those in a bibliography, and Miss Chisholm is going to show us how to record those very well. You can see in my example here, down the bottom under sources, I've started my bibliography. I've put down one of the sources of information, and then I will keep adding to that. So you can see with my example, I have answered my questions about the event. I have answered the questions about the source that I chose to analyze. And I have started keeping a bibliography as well. Now I'm not going to read through the next in the next slides for you, but you can see here that the same thing is set out for your groups, tells you to do exactly the same things, and your people, the person you are going to choose, and then what you need to do in your research. It's exactly the same. I've also done a little example for you of how I have now put this information from my planning, my research information, how my group and I put this together in our multimedia presentation. So I have actually got here a website. I have put together a website. You can do whatever you like. I've done a website. So you can see that I've put some images here because I think they're important things I came across in my research, and that makes it a nice, interesting website as well with images on it. You can see here in my navigation, I've set out all of my different criteria, my event and my source, my group and my source, my person and my source and my bibliography. And you can see here when I go to significant event, I have taken all of my dot points here of information that I found out, and my group and I have been able to put that into some sentences. Okay, this is basically what we are expecting. This is your basic example. So you might be able to write a little bit more than this. And this is just each of those dot points written out into a sentence. Because you're in a small group of people and you're not doing this whole multimedia presentation by yourself, it should be a little bit easier for you. So the way that your group chooses to do this is up to you. If you want to, one person is in charge of each of these questions, putting that into sentences, or whether one person does the event, one person does the person, one person does the group. That's up to you, however you want to do that. Your teacher will help you week by week to stay on track and to work out especially how you might put this into your presentation mode. Okay, but that gives you a bit of an idea, and this particular slideshow is going to be shared with you as well. So you can always go back to this and keep track of what you need to do week by week. What are the different tasks to do? I hope that helps you, and I hope you enjoy this inquiry project.